Right, okay. I'm doing this video fully off the cuff, but I've got to get something out about this because, you can probably already see, this is stuff that I am excited for. I'll start with this. A while back, I was making videos about Ionic Sentry. Over half a year ago, when Ionic Sentry got released, I put together a Verity's Brow build, and I was really gutted to find out that Ionic Sentry wasn't counted as a grenade. That's what I was talking about in this. It was a solo GM, and I was using Verity's Brow on Arc and just saying, hey, it doesn't work now, in the future it will work. We then get a patch a while later, and they change Ionic Sentry to become just a regular Arc ability, which I talk about in this video here. Its focus is on Ascension because that had a whole different issue with it not being considered a class ability and it being considered a bunch of other stuff it shouldn't, like a sword somehow, which is why that's in the thumbnail. But I talk about Ionic Sentry in this video, and I'm going to cut to me from the past talking about that with the power of editing. I will be back in 1 second. In all honesty, Ascension here is the worst of the bunch, but it makes for a good anecdote in that this keeps on happening with abilities in the game. Part of the reason that I've been spurred on to make this video after fully dropping the idea a few months back is that Bungie again did the same thing with Ionic Sentry. They released it and it had absolutely no interactions, didn't count as an ability, didn't work with electrostatic mind, didn't work with anything that mentioned grenade, so spark is shock, firepower, ashes to assets, you name it. If the word grenade was in the description, odds are it didn't work with Ionic Sentry. Bungie then goes on saying they're fixing it, and when they eventually get round to doing so, I was so excited. I could finally put together my Verity's Brow Ionic Sentry build, damage buffing the Sentry, and using Spark of Shock to be jolting a load of enemies. I get into the game, get testing, and my heart sinks to find out that it's still not coded as a grenade, only now a plain arc ability. Alright, we good? Got that? Then, after that video, I come back and I do a solo GM talking about how it's now an ability, but still just saying it's a shame it's not considered a grenade. Then, in this Week in Destiny, they drop this beautiful little block of text. And, ooh, makes me feel warm inside. Makes me feel good. Alright, clear my throat. Moving forward, we plan to do more to reinforce the Warlock identity. In the short term, we're working on enabling deeper build crafting and finding ways to give Warlocks more ability uptime. The Empowering Rift change coming in the Ashen Iron update is part of this, which is the stuff that is saying down here. But a nice change. Longer term, we'd like to give Warlocks more mobile healing options and a passive benefit to match the other classes. Titans do bonus uncharged melee damage, which I think clocks in at 5% increased damage. Hunters have higher base movement speed, which they just have. Here are some of the upcoming Warlock changes we're working on. The following Warlock turrets will now count as grenade for stats and perks. And the first one, hallelujah, oh my god, there it is, pen to paper, in writing, Ionic Sentry. I cannot tell you how vindicated I feel seeing that just in front of my face. Ionic Sentry, now a grenade and works with stats and perks. Amazing. On one hand, bad Bungie, naughty Bungie. It should have been this way in the first place. It was a turret, it should have worked like a grenade, it got thrown like a grenade. From it being released originally, it procced Verity's Brow Feel the Flame, it procced stuff like Demo. This thing was born to be a grenade, and it just wasn't one. So seeing that now, again, that makes me happy. But the part where I want to say, great Bungie, amazing changes, are in these 4. It's a small little change. These things have gone from being abilities to now being grenades. Literally, their handle has just gone ability to grenade. But it is stuff like this that just opens up the door massively for making interesting builds. Stuff like this, I want to see spread across the game even more. A while back, I made a Grecian Vest Hunter build, and in that build, I was using, well, obviously, Grecian Vest, but then on the prowl, and then also Snare Bomb. But every source of smoke in that build, so again, on the prowl, and Grecian from its rework, and then Snare Bomb, all of the smoke counted as melee damage. That meant I could run triple heavy-handed. That completely opened up the build for more interesting interactions. It made the build something that I wanted to make and wanted to talk about and still use now, because it's fun. It prints orbs like you wouldn't believe. That's beside the point. It was the fact that it was interactions that got added into the kit, as in smoke being melee, that made it interesting. And that is what all 5 of these abilities, Ionic Sentry, Arc Soul, Helion, Bleak Watcher, Child of the Old Gods, that's what all of them are going to do for their classes. They're just going to open build crafting up so much. Make entirely new builds and just improve old ones or change the way that you potentially want to run them. And you can probably tell from up top, that's what I want to talk about. The first big one, Helion, and on Prismatic, Facet of Mending. Because it's now a grenade, it means anytime it gets a kill, or anytime it scorches a target and then you apply more scorch to that and then trigger an ignition, and that ignition gets a kill, that's going to be considered a grenade kill, and the ignition be considered grenade damage, and if it gets a kill, grenade kill. So that's going to be proccing Cure. And I'm like 99.9% sure on this. Although Compendium says Prismatic grenade kills grant Cure ×2, it means more while you are Transcendent and you get a grenade kill, you get Cure ×2. Which, if you're running something like Eunoia, or you want to use something like Spirit of Verity, which I'm assuming is now going to increase the damage of your Helion, this is going to be so good. Like, genuinely, Eunoia for me was such a nothing burger exotic. I was there and I saw it and I was like, it just doesn't really do much. It's nothing fancy. And although it's not necessarily got any flashier, this just makes it so much better. The exact same thing for Solar, for the exact same reasons. You can use Resolve, and that's going to give you Cure, but the thing with Solar is that you have Ashes, you have ways to interact with Scorch and Ignitions. It's much better in kind of getting you to get that Cure, but potentially not as much Cure as the Cure ×2 that you get from Prismatic with Mending. Next up, and this is one I cannot wait to put together, Void. The big one here is, well, okay, 2 big ones. Instability. We already knew this was a thing. Grenade kills grant volatile rounds, void weapons for 11 seconds. But, Child of the Old Gods, it's now a grenade. So that means whenever it gets a kill, you're just going to give your void weapons volatile. Already super nice. But the big one, the big one, grenade ability damage grants melee energy. 3% for the ones you can see there, and then 8% for Axion, Handheld Supernova, Magnetic Suppressor. That, now you can add in Child of the Old Gods, which is going to make that so good. This is on top of the fact that the Void Melee, I forget the name, but it shoots out a little ball. It's not only getting an extra charge just at base, but it's also now getting a damage boost on top of that. So your melee, which I can only assume is going to be a good melee now, just gets free energy back for Child of the Old Gods. On top of the fact that this thing just passively benefits from, I believe, Healing and Empowering Rift. One of them gives you stats back. This build, I kid you not, is going to be so good. And the exotic that you could pair it up with, Briarbinds. Again, Briarbinds is just going to do the same thing as it did before, but now you get more Void Soul damage, and because of the way that it works and interacts with the stats... Oh, that's the wrong tab. Because it interacts with stats, that means that this 100% increased damage is going to be scaled up by that 65% multiplicative scalar of 200 grenade. And again, just achieving stuff like the 50% DR that you get, it becomes easier. This is what I mean when these changes just open up builds and just enable them so much better. You want to run something like triple firepower or like double firepower, the grenade kills and making orbs, and then You can pick up an orb and you can extend your devour. Just, man, I cannot wait. This stuff is going to be so fun. Next up, and this is the big one. Oh my god, shock. Arc grenades inflict jolt on hit. I cannot wait. It is the exact thing that I talked about in this video where I was saying, sucks that it doesn't get Verity and sucks that it doesn't jolt targets on every single one it hits. Now, that looks like it's going to be working, and exotic perk, which means it's going to be working with Verities. I cannot wait. But then also Arc Soul is going to be triggering this too. So grenade damage there. And again, for the same reasons, you can run something like Firepower, and this is going to be getting a lot of kills. And then because of shock, it's going to be jolting targets, which means you can trigger Electrostatic Mind by just having your little arc buddy or your turret kind of plink at an enemy, and then you can kill them. And then you get the, Ionic, you get the trace, and then, oh man, I cannot, if you can't already tell, I'm so looking forward to these changes. And then some exotics of note, Verity's Brow. This is going to be a big one. I have to assume this 100% damage bonus is going to be hitting absolutely, I would assume, Sentry, and then Arc Soul, Helion, Bleak Watcher, and Child. The only thing that I don't know is, say for example you have Helion on Prismatic, but you're running, say, an Arc Grenade. You know, how does it interact with getting the damage buff? This is stuff I don't know, but this is stuff I cannot wait to test and just get into and really start making some cool builds. The other big one, Getaway Artist. It's going to be so good to just have this thing now count as an Arc Grenade. Arc Grenade damage, yeah, it does not count as grenade damage. Not when that comes out, not when this comes out. But, oh man, I can't wait. All of this is just to say, these are changes that I think are so good. I consider Ionic Sentry to now be fixed, as it should have been in the first place, but these four, Bungie, amazing changes. I know they get ragged on quite a lot, it's deserved sometimes, but you got to give them where credit, well, sorry, I was trying to come up with a saying there and I fumbled it. You got to give them credit where credit is due. These changes right here are going to be so nice. I'm sure when they release, there's probably going to be a handful of bugs that's going to take a short while to get released. I pray this one has a smooth launch, because I can't deal with Ionic Sentry being bugged again. But this stuff right here, amazing changes. These are things that just, they open up builds. Again, and I sound like a stuck record, but it's so good for build crafting. It makes it more interesting. You add layers, just these tiny little things like ability to grenade. You open the door wide to so many different combos and variations of things. And to be honest, there's other stuff in this TWID, like the Titan now getting 2 melee charges of Howl of the Storm and getting more crystals, and Bastion having a faster cooldown in PvP. Sure, whatever. The Hunter changes, I'm so looking forward to. Cure on your mark is going to give that subclass a little bit extra healing, which is going to be really nice. Golden Gun Deadshot now refunding energy is going to be so good. And the Marksman's Dodge change, amazing. But the thing that I think Bungie has done well here, and what I really want them to potentially look at for other stuff, are these ones. Just changing stuff like this. I know they said that they potentially are going to think of this as kind of like a class exclusive thing, where Warlocks get access to more things that are grenades. But if they added this to other classes, I just know from the bottom of my heart that these would be good changes that would make build crafting so much more fun. Anyway, I wanted to get that out. Sorry if this was a bit scrappy, or I repeated myself, or I stumbled, or you hear excessive breathing into the mic. I wanted to get something out about this, because, oh man, I'm excited. I cannot wait to talk about this. And again, if you're looking for an Ionic Sentry build, using Verity's Brow because you think, oh, wow, that would be a good interaction. It's here. There's a beautiful dim link saved down in the description. Actually, you know what? Under this video, I'm going to put the dim link for this build because as soon as those changes go live, I'm making this dedicated build video. I am dropping everything, and my life becomes the Verity's Brow Ionic Sentry build. Anyway, that's about it from me. Have a nice day or evening or morning or I don't know. Have a nice time. Anyway, that's about it from me. Zip.